All right, how y'all doing today? Welcome in the rainy podcast. It's raining outside, so we still gonna make this thing happen today. I am your host, Christopher Galloway, aka Charles' son, aka Camilio Salamander, aka Sir Galloway, with my co-host
Chanell. Y'all know I don't do all the extra, but anyway, I'm Chanell. Yeah. So that's all I got.
So we here tonight to discuss another topic. Chanell, what's gonna be the topic tonight?
Tonight we are talking about how can you build a positive bond after the breakup. So
After
that's
the
important.
breakup.
Yes. But again, before we go into our topics on tonight,
Let me give her spiel.
we do want to is that better?
Yeah, just it's like a
Okay. This way? Okay, cool. Tonight we are going to talk about how can you build a positive bond after the breakup. But before we do want to discuss and put our disclaimer out there. Chris and I are not clinical psychologists, therapists, anything of that magnitude. We are just two parents who finally figured it out. So we took advantage of this platform so that we can come and discuss and help build our community up and encourage those to work and try to do the same when it comes to co-parenting. So again, we are not licensed clinical psychologists or anything like that. We just have figured out the blueprint. And so here we are. So yes, that's where we are.
So before we get started, we want to give it a little housekeeping up in here just real quick. We're going to talk about a few topics. First of all, with C's, guys, y'all been doing a great job, supporting C's with all the new things that we're bringing in and out of the store. We love it. We're seeing so many testimonies about the products and how great they are and what they're doing for their bodies and how certain elements are now falling off, whether it be someone dealing with low iron deficiency, someone dealing with diabetes. The list can go on. And we want to say thank you guys for supporting C's as we continue to grow this brand and grow this business. And yes, today I took a picture by the sign because I was excited. We're not open yet, but I am overly excited. We are overly excited about what's coming soon to our community. I mean, this is a beautiful restaurant. So guys, I just want you guys to stay locked in with us. I know we've been saying it was going to happen this day and that day, but when you're building a store to take national, it takes a long time to prepare that store because every store that you create has to look just like that store. So it's just like a McDonald's. Anytime you go around the country, you see the same McDonald's. McDonald's is built the same exact way. And that's what we have to do with this store. So that's what's taking us so long. So we ask you guys to continue to be patient, but we're coming real. When I say real soon, I mean real soon. I can't give you a formative date, but I can definitely tell you we're coming real soon. So just please stay informed and stay locked in with us, and we'll be getting back to you guys as soon as we possibly can. But with that being said, Chanell, let's get into this thing.
All right. So we have taken the time to survey a couple people and see what some of the things that would help better the bond, So the first talking point we wanted to discuss and bring up is communication. We all know that most times when you break up with someone, either one, you can't stand the person, you hate to see them coming, the smell of them make you sick, the thought of them makes you vomit. So, let alone, you can't even stand the sight of them, let alone be able to sit down and have a intelligent conversation, a conducive conversation that can lead to some kind of prosperity or a positive stance. So we know in our relationship, our past relationship, when it comes to communication, we struggled in that area. I feel like I have always been a good conversationalist and a good communicator. I do. I feel like... What? You don't think so?
Why we got to start off with the lies already? We ain't even been 5 minutes into this thing, and you already lying.
No. So what was the issue? What do you feel like the issue was to prevent us from communicating?
Both of us.
No. So I tell you what I think the problem was.
Go.
You wasn't level-headed.
Oh.
Yeah, you were irrational.
What's so crazy about this whole thing is that's the easiest scapegoat to say, it's the man. He wasn't level-headed. It's always the man. He's tyrant. He wasn't level-headed. He was too busy trying to run me and tell me what to do. Come on, stop playing. It works both ways. Sometimes a woman may Maybe she may be communicating effectively, but also it'll be times where you're not communicating effectively and you're just upset and you're in a rage and you're being very emotional. And you know y'all get very emotional. And that's why some men cannot communicate with women because y'all are so emotional. Y'all get emotional fast. It's like, damn, can we talk, please?
Well, I would say this. Women are, our DNA and our makeup is different. So yes, we receive things different. Our body responds to information differently. However, that does not negate from the fact that most times men are hotheads and can't sit down long enough to get an effective conversation going. But anyway, I felt like I was a good communicator, so I'm guessing you did.
She was not.
All right.
And I'm going to tell you why. Because it was times where I was truly communicating with her on how I felt about things and our relationship before it went bad. And she wasn't effectively communicating. I mean, let's just be honest. Before we even, because I know we got to talk about communication, so we're going to go there. I'm going to talk about us for a quick second. And I'm going to bring in something that probably is going to make you look kind of crazy, but I got to do this.
Okay. Well, that ain't got nothing to do with co-parenting. Y'all, I apologize for the
no, we're
foolishness.
going to talk about it.
I wish I could take 10 seconds back of your lives.
No, we're going to talk about it. Because that's not right. You're talking about effective, you was effectively communicating. You was never a true effective communicator.
To do with co-parenting.
You did not communicate, Chanell.
Okay, so this is the dynamics, right? Okay, so going back to the topic, which is co-parenting communication.
I'm just saying, don't be talking about you communicated because you didn't. Well, we can stay on topic though,
Please.
but you wasn't really you wasn't truly a communicator.
Can we please?
Go back to the topic because you wasn't communicating.
So communication. What are some of the tips that you feel like you can give our community, our Black men, all our audience, really, ways to communicate effectively with someone who they have broken up with and no longer, have those feelings or anything like that? What are some good communication? What do you do?
First things first, you got to remove your feelings because a lot of times, if you're still dealing with the feelings, whether it be you still love that woman and you kind of maybe still want to be with her, or maybe you hate her, or whatever the case may be, because a lot of times when both of y'all have feelings involved, nothing can get resolved because you're too busy fighting amongst each other. How can you communicate when it's like, I hate you, or where does the communication fall in? Because all y'all gonna do, everything falls on deaf ears. You're not gonna be able to talk to each other. You're not gonna have any kind of thorough communication because it's always a fight. The way y'all communicate is always gonna be a fight, like we used to do when we were younger. It was always a fight. You can never truly communicate because you fought all the time. And so I'm like, how do you communicate with a person that you fight with all the time? And like you said earlier, you can't stand the sight of them. You can't stand the smell of them. You hate to see them coming. You love to see them going. So at the end of the day, it's like, how do you communicate? Well, first things first, you have to remove your feelings. You have to take the feelings out. Because as soon as we remove the feelings, we were able to start talking to each other. But while we had feelings involved, nothing got resolved. So that's the first thing. Remove your feelings from the situation.
I agree. I think also removing your feelings from the situation is a great starting point. Also, in addition to that, I also feel like most times when people are trying to communicate with such sensitive topics, they often want to be right. Like one person just has to feel like they are right in the situation. I'm right, you're wrong. We're going to do it my way. This is how it's going to be, or, we're not going anywhere. So what I've learned, and I actually learned this from a very good friend, he informed me, and this is just about their personal relationship as they between a husband and wife. But what he said was, it was very profound because he said, in their relationship, husband and wife, it's them, the husband and wife, against the problem. So when you reverse that thing and you take it as, okay, the mother and the father, the child against whatever the issue is. So, okay, let's say dad's saying, hey, I'm not getting enough parenting time. So the issue, we're going to use this can to demonstrate, the issue is the parenting time. Mm-hmm. It's not me and you. We're not fighting with each other. So we need to be on the same side of the field, tackling the issue, which is parenting time. And you can use that for anything: parenting time, child support, discipline, new relationships. It's whatever situation that you're encountering, you can use that tactic as a way to tackle the issue so that you can have clear communication when it comes to resolving the issue. Mm-hmm. So therefore, let's say it is parenting time. So instead of you don't need to keep him on this holiday, and he needs to stay over here with me, or he needs to do this, or the dad having whatever reasons. Well, ain't nobody gonna be around my son. Those type of things.
Mhm.
To prevent that, you just simply tackle the problem. So a solution. And sometimes it's definitely all about compromise. That's a starter there. You have to be willing to compromise, because just in a perfect world, everything cannot go your way. You have to be reasonable about the situation. But yeah, everything cannot go your way. So with communication, stop trying to be right. Stop trying to interrupt. Don't listen to respond. Listen to understand, because the goal is to move forward. The goal is to press through. The goal is to get this kid where he needs to be. So I would say the first step in building a positive bond would be effective communication.
That's true.
Listening.
You gotta be able to listen to each other.
Mhm.
You gotta be able to listen to each other, because you know what? Like you said, don't listen to respond, listen to hear. A lot of times we all listen to try to respond. It's almost like excuse my language. I mean, double dutch. It's like you're just waiting to jump in. Like, I'm going to say what you got to say. Hurry up and say what you got to say so I can say what I got to say. Say what you got to say so I can say what I got to say. How about you take a second and take a break, take a breath. Listen to what she's saying, but hear what she's saying, or hear what he's saying, and then let it digest for a second. Then respond. Because then when you respond, you're responding because you heard what you were supposed to hear, and now you can give a thorough answer back versus saying, you know what? No, I'm just going to keep saying what I want to say because I'm going to get my point across. A lot of times it's not about your point. The point is to communicate effectively. That is the point.
In addition, sometimes all communication can be verbal communication. Let's say, you guys are not at the point to where you can talk on the phone. Maybe, some traumatic things have happened and you just need to, you need space. You need to set your boundaries. So if you need to send a text message, make sure that you're sending a text message that is straight to the point. Remove personal feelings, remove any low blows, remove any insulting texts or comments, anything like that. Stick straight to the point. Maybe, like I said, maybe you're not at a point to where you can verbally communicate, but try different alternatives such as texting, or a mediator or something like that, until you can get to the point where you guys can listen and hear each other. So, and then again, that comes with the second point which we're going to talk about tonight, which was removing personal feelings, because those feelings can really hinder communication. Personal feelings can hinder effective communication.
True.
You mad at me, I'm mad at you, I still love you, you still love me. Yeah, like my auntie says, animosity. A lot of hurt people. You kind of hurt people, and you do I'm not going to say naturally, but sometimes you have resentment along with animosity, So,
no, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, think about it like this. When the love was there, when y'all first, it's almost like a relationship has a zeal on it at the beginning. I'm going to be real with you. Think about it. Just like when you go to church. When you first start off, you on fire for God, right? You have a zeal. When a relationship is fresh and new, it has a zeal on it. It's like, oh my God, I'm so in love with you. I'm going to sing in the car with you. We're going to sing different songs. I love you so much. I can't see myself without you. I got to see you every day. It's like my every waking moment needs to be spent with you. But once the beauty of it settles, and now y'all in a relationship, and now y'all got to really truly get to know each other, and maybe some things you don't like about this person.
The topic is how you can build a positive bond.
So maybe some things you don't like about this person.
After a breakup.
And all these things happen in y'all relationship, and now the relationship is going sour. And here comes the breakup. But the relationship, it has also brought about a kid or a two or three. So now y'all have children involved. But maybe down the road, it's time to break up. Here comes the nastiness. You can't leave each other the way you came. So you leave with a bunch of mess. Okay. And now it's like, I hate you. I hate you. So y'all have to go through that point of the feelings are still involved. Somewhere in the line, the feelings are still there because you're still fighting with each other. Because trust and believe, once the feelings leave, this is what you have. You have this.
Yes.
When there's no feelings anymore, you have this.
Yes.
And so until you get to that point where you can get rid of the feelings, you're going to fight. You're going to argue. You're going to hate each other. That's just what it is. But you have to take out your personal feelings. You have to remove your feelings from the situation in order to effectively communicate. Like we said at the beginning, communication. And then once you remove your personal feelings, everything just changes, everything. And so that's the beauty of it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so if you're coming in late, again, we're talking about how can you build a positive bond after the breakup. So we're just kind of highlighting a couple of points here. Mr. Upton, I'm sorry we weren't able to give you the schedule today. We had to shoot a different day today, but thanks for tuning in. And after you remove the personal feelings, the next talking point would be always keeping the child at the center. You know, I think for little Chris, like no matter how I felt about a situation, let's say Chris had pissed me off, you know, and I didn't want to deal with them. And you have those feelings, that animosity, that resentment. Well, you didn't do what I said that you needed to do today. You didn't. I told you he needed some shoes, or I told you I had to work late, and you needed to go and pick him up from school. But instead, you didn't do what you needed to do. So now I have to take off work, go get the baby, drop him off. Now I might lose my job. So I'm feeling away, right? So I may be in my feelings so tough to where, all right, this weekend, I bet you don't get him.
Yeah.
This weekend, I bet you don't get him. Why? Because I'm pissed off. I'm in my feelings. So what we're needing to learn and what we're needing to practice is keeping the child at the center. If I keep my child away from his father, whether he be a good person to me or not, or whether he not honored his commitment to me or not, is definitely you know, I have to set that aside. If I keep him from his father, that means that he's not going to be able to build that bond that he should with his child. Yeah. So I have to keep Chris's best interest at the forefront.
That's true. And a lot of times, even with the men, you know, you get scatterbrained sometimes. And maybe some things you didn't do that you probably should have done. And now the mother's upset with you because you didn't do it. Or maybe you said you was going to do something and you didn't keep your word, or whatever the case may be. It's like, try your best to keep her from getting upset with you about maybe some things she may have you do for your child. Try your best to always follow through whatever you say you're going to do when you're going to do it. That way it keeps the communication effective and it keeps you guys from fighting. A lot of times women, I hate to say this, but I got to be real. When you're upset with the man, a lot of times you're looking for the fight. So don't give her one. You have to find ways not to give her a fight. Do what's asked of you. All I can say is truly do what's asked of you. Then she doesn't have a fight. But when you don't do what's asked of you, here comes the fight, because she's already looking for it, because she's still mad at you. She's still in her feelings about whatever you've done in the past, especially if the breakup is because of you. She's very upset with you because you, first of all, you came into her life. She was by herself. You got to remember this, guys. When you met her, she didn't have any children. She was living her best life, or was living her life, period. You brought yourself into her life and you transformed her life. What I mean by transforming her life, you gave her a child. And now you're leaving. Now she feels abandoned. She feels hurt. She feels used, and all these different things. And because of that, if you're not handling your business on the outside, she's going to let you know you're not handling your business, because again, all those other feelings she's harping over what you've done to her, now it's going to be magnified times 100 because of what she's feeling that you're not doing now when it comes to that child or children.
So I guess to sum that up, when the best thing to do when you notice that your child's parents or the co-parent is having a bad day, because let's just be honest, in a perfect world, it's not always the man's fault, Mr. Upton, not at all, but majority of the time. But no, when you notice that the other is having a bad day, somebody has to rise above the situation. Somebody has to say, you know what, I'm not going to argue with you today. I recognize in this moment that your energy is off. I recognize in this moment that you're trying to shift your energy upon me. I am not going to receive it. I'm hoping that you have a better day, but I'm going to discontinue the conversation, or I'm going to end the meeting, or I'm going to, whatever needs to be done. But someone has to be the adult to understand, like, hey, this is not beneficial for any of us. It definitely isn't beneficial for the child. Again, we want to keep the child at the center because that's what's important. Making sure that he's in a healthy situation. Because why would you, when you really think about it, when you're going back and forth and you're arguing, who is in the middle?
The child.
Who is in the middle? The child. The child is seeing the two most important people in his life. He is seeing them going back and forth. He's seeing them tear down each other. Thank you, Jenny. He's seeing them, like just rip each other apart. So when you're ripping each other apart, what do you think you're doing to the confidence of your child? You're his makeup. So if he see you cutting up and doing all this, then that's how he feels about himself. So always remember to keep your child at the center. I'm not saying Chris and I got it right the first time, the second time, the third time. But again, somebody had to wake up and just be like, you know what? No more. I'm not going to cuss you out to get my point across. I'm not going to, talk bad about your mama. That woman ain't did nothing to me. I'm not going to do any of those things. I'm not going to keep my child away from you. I'm going to keep the child at the center of our situation so that we can make sure that he's okay.
Yeah. Okay? You got to do that because, again, if the child starts seeing this tug of war, the child's going to get involved with the tug of war because it's like, okay, I can play them amongst each other. We went through that with our son. Once he started seeing the tug of war, he was like, okay, cool. Daddy don't like mama. Mama don't like daddy. So you know what I can do? I can whisper in my daddy's ear some stuff. It's going to make him mad. And I can whisper my mama's ear some stuff, which is going to make her mad. And then when they brought in significant others, it even made it worse. We're going to get into that in a second because a lot of times when you're having outside people now involved in your relationships, the mother and the father can say things like, don't take my son over here, don't do this, don't do that, because it's about control. So you always got to remember when you're dealing with a child, keep the child in the center, but also keep the child out of adult business. Because when the child is getting to seek information from adults about another adult that the child should not be hearing, the child now can take those things and run to the other adult, whether it be the mother or the father, and say, well, mama said this about you, daddy, or daddy, daddy said this about you and your boyfriend or whoever, and so now the parents are upset, they're calling each other, now they back arguing again. So what you have to do is keep the child in the center, but also make sure that a child stay in a child's place. A lot of times now, children are being involved in adult conversations, and they should not be having or listening to adult conversations at all, period.
Well, actually, what you just mentioned is a really hot topic right now. It's called manipulative co-parenting. And what that is, it's bad-mouthing the other parent in front of the kids. And, sometimes subconsciously that may happen. I'm not saying that is a good thing because it's definitely not. Again, you're tearing down this child's parent in front of him, which is stripping away who he is, So you have to really be careful if the other parent is doing something that you are not in agreement with. Remove the child. When you're on the phone talking to your mama, telling your mama everything that he done that day, make sure that the kid is not in the midst and hearing that because they're receiving that information. Kids are very, very smart. They're very smart. So they know when something is being said, and that makes them feel away. And I've been guilty of that myself. I have to be honest. I've done that before. You just, and you can't allow other people to do that too. You can't allow grandma or auntie, he ain't no good, he ain't this and he ain't that. So it's actually called manipulative co-parenting. And so just be mindful of those type of things when you're communicating with others. It's all going back into how do you build a positive bond. You have to stop these bad habits. Again, somebody has to wake up and say, you know what? This is not what I want to do anymore. So with that being said, the next thing that you need to do is establish good parenting goals. So just to let you guys know, the reason why Chris and I, so when me and Chris split up and we decided to take this journey together, we set some goals for ourselves. Number one, number one, we was going to make sure that we developed a strong parenting foundation for Chris Jr. We said we was not, number two, we wasn't going to let anybody come in between what we had, meaning, thank you for your opinion. I appreciate it. Thank you for voicing your concerns. But at the end of the day, Chris and I are going to do what's best for Chris. Again, keeping him at the center, right? Because everything is about co-parenting and the child's needs and what the child was best for the child. So we decided we were going to listen, but we weren't going to let anyone influence our decision because ultimately it's what we were going to decide. So we decided we weren't going to let anybody come in between that. And number two, we had goals and agendas for our child. Our child has expressed as a young kid that, hey, I want to play football. I want to take this thing all the way together. Or all the way to the top. So what we did was we rallied behind him. His dad playing sports for a majority of his life as well. So we said, okay, we're going to take him to this school. We're going to put him in this program. We're going to make sure this child care provider is available. We're going to make sure that this tutor is available. We're going to make sure that we put him in this event. We're going to make so we had different structures and different goals and milestones. Okay, he's going to go just different things that we had set forth for him. Those were the parenting goals, making sure we're on the same page with these things because it just made it that much easier. So when you have goals for your kid, y'all can work together. Nobody's saying, hey, this is how it's going to be your way only. No, we're going to sit down. We're going to have reasonable parenting goals and we're going to crush them out. And so, like I said, Chris and I, the reason why our dynamics is so strong is because we established that in the beginning. Again, we always have to go back. No, it's nothing, no more than just us being cool. Chris is the homie, big, he the homie, you know what I'm saying? We get it done. And so that's part of the reason why, because we established these parenting goals for our child.
She's right. You gotta have them established. You gotta establish something. Because if you're just kind of flying by the seat of your parents as a parent, a lot of things are going to go missing. A lot of things are going to happen. You're not going to be able to say, you're not going to have contingencies in place. So you got to learn how to have contingencies in place. And the only way you can do that is by effectively talking to each other, communicating and working together. I don't care what nobody says. If you're not willing to work with the other parent, nothing good is going to come of that. All you're going to be doing is hitting your head up against a brick wall. You know, you got to stop and be willing to work together for the betterment of the child. I've seen a lot of times where when parents work together with their children, that's a very successful young woman or young man. You can look all around on earth and you'll see that somewhere down the line, either both parents were in the home or both parents worked well together. And that's why this child's upbringing was so marvelous. And the child was able to go out and become a pillar of the community and become a law-abiding citizen or whatever the case may be, because both parents were there saying, we're going to make sure that our child has the best from both of us so he can be the best. He or her can be the best of themselves because of us. So what we decided to do was work together for the betterment of Christopher. And because of that, Christopher is a bright young man. He's a young man that's going places. He knows what he wants out of life. He's not guessing. And I love that for him because he's living a life I want him to live. Now, I'm not living through my son, and we're not living through him, but
you were a little bit.
Whatever.
His knees gave away. He can't. I remember they tried to have a race. You living through him a little bit, but I think you found out real quick. Yeah, there's no competition to him anymore. But yeah, I'm sorry. My bad.
Anyway, like I was saying, my child learned how to play football on his own. I never trained him until I knew it was time. He showed me he could play before I put the ball in his hand. So that's something he wanted for himself. But anyway, I digress. What I'm saying is, because we work together now, we started working together right when he was in his maturation process, right around 13 years old, when he's really becoming himself and he's really understanding who he is as a young person, and he's building his own personality and everything was going on with him.
Okay.
We were able to work together to really, really grow this young man to where he is now. And I'm very proud of Christopher because of that.
And then just going back into like everyday situations when it comes to establishing the parenting goals. Let's say you have a grade school kid or a high school kid. Both parents are unable to attend the parent teacher conference. Don't make the other person feel bad. Just feel them. Hey, I'm gonna go to the parent teacher conferences. Maybe you can take them to the basketball practice, or and then whatever that parent can't attend, pick up the phone, communicate, let them know, hey, this is what the teacher was saying, this is how well they're doing, or this is what's needed for this sports program. So find ways to work together to be able to actually achieve the goals that you are establishing for your child. Yep. Right?
That's true.
All right.
That's
okay.
True.
So with that being said, in order to do those things effectively, you also have to establish boundaries, right? Because you got to be able to establish some healthy boundaries, because that's also important. I remember when I decided that I was going to go ahead and do my own thing and step on out there. I think I talked about this in one of the first seasons or episodes. Here he come creeping up to the window. No, we're not going to do that. You're not going to be knocking on my window, and you're not going to be calling my phone at all hours of the night. We're going to establish some boundaries so that everybody can feel respected. New partners can feel respected, because as you're developing this bond, right? As you're developing this co-parenting bond, a lot of people are going to be like, no, it's something else going on there. It's y'all got to be messing around. You know what I'm saying? So establishing clear boundaries, clear, healthy boundaries, that's also another thing that we want to tackle into.
Yeah, you got to have them, because like you said, because we didn't have boundaries at the beginning, I would find myself tipping back and forth with her, playing with her, until she said enough was enough. And then when she said enough was enough, it wasn't enough for me. So when I realized she was serious, that's when, because, it's times when women say all the time, no, you can't come over. And I know we on this live, so some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Women be like, no, I don't want you, don't you come over here. But as soon as you come over, say a couple of things to you, everything's happening like it always does. And then he goes about his business, and then you're mad at him again. But then some down the road, he comes back over and do the same thing all over again. And it's not until you really, truly are had enough, and now you have boundaries in place. He might not like it, so he's fighting against your boundaries. But again, once the boundaries are truly set and you put your foot down, he's gonna fall right in place, and it's gonna be what it is. But you gotta have healthy boundaries, because if you don't, you're just playing with each other. At this point, y'all might as well be back together, because if y'all playing this game of cat and mouse, might as well stay with her. What's the point of leaving? If all you're gonna do is tip back and forth, you just wanna have your cake and eat it too, it don't work that way. So you gotta have boundaries. Women and men, because women do it too. A woman can find out a man is weak on her, and she'll exploit it. So again, both need to start straight out when it's over. Start setting up the boundaries. We're not doing this. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do this, because if you do it, then you won't be in pain later. It takes a long time when you're playing this little game with each other to try to establish boundaries when you haven't never even established them when you first broke up. It's like, nah. Now I want to start having boundaries. Well, no, we're not doing that, because for about 5 years now, we've been playing with each other. Now you want to have boundaries? But once you truly set them up and you're doing it for the right reasons, it works out. It's only when you're playing this game that it doesn't. So always make sure that you're truly, really, really ready to set boundaries and set them and mean them.
One of the boundaries, I will speak for myself. One of the boundaries that I feel like I had to set for myself is because I used to, even after we broke up, split up, had been apart for a while, I used to count his pockets. I had that problem. I had that problem real bad. Like, well, hold on, the math ain't mathing. Wait a minute, So I used to find myself basically counting his pockets. So that wasn't necessarily a good thing. And now I wasn't trying to control his money, but I always felt like, hold on, I think, I think there's something else that you can help contribute with. So I had to let myself, keep myself at bay, So those are one of the boundaries that I feel like I had to set for myself. Another boundaries I can suggest that you guys do as well would be, making sure that the family, establishing co-parenting boundaries for your family members, because sometimes family members can get in there and have a lot of opinions as well, and cause riffraff as well. So establishing boundaries for your parents or your family so that they can respect the path that you guys are on as well.
Yeah, that's
You know what
true.
I'm saying?
Because a lot of times family members, once they know that y'all broken up, and let's say it's almost like they take on the beef, I guess, in the sense of saying it's beef, because it's almost like if I hate her, we hate her too. And if it's seriously it's like the family would take on. That's why I always tell people all the time, like when you're dating someone, don't tell everybody your business, because once y'all over the problem, the other ones are not. They're still upset. They're still mad, because guess what? She came or he came venting about what you did. And so now it's like, you know what? Just because you over it, we're not over it. So now when everybody's together for Thanksgiving and Christmas, family members are giving her the side eye, giving him the side eye, they whispering and they saying all these crazy things, and don't let them get to drinking, because somebody might decide to tell them how they really feel. And now they're in the house fighting. So again, it's best to keep, if you're going to be together, it's best to keep your business in the house. Don't share with family, because once family get a hold of it, it's never going to be the same. Unless they're all mature and they can look past what y'all talking about. But most of the time, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be a fight.
Yeah, because if I don't like you, my mama don't like you.
Yeah, so it's just one of them things.
And remember, you gave my mama a reason not to like you. If y'all tune in, go to the co-parenting podcast, click like, share, and subscribe. You'll be able to figure out and see all the past episodes when this joker had me arrested for throwing a shoe. So yeah, my mama was real mad, and took her a while to get over that.
I'm not gonna sit up here and let this girl go back and forth about that shoe. Was her fist she hit me with? She's not hit me with no shoe, but we gonna leave it alone. Anyways, but yeah, that's what happens when you definitely just gotta make sure you keep your family out the business and work together to try your best to be effective parents when it comes to the child. Because at the end of the day, when you guys are not gonna be together anymore, it's about the child. So it shouldn't be no feelings involved. It shouldn't be no fighting, no bickering. Why? What are we fighting for? A lot of times when you're fighting like that, it's because you still got feelings for the person.
You know what? Also, in addition to that, sometimes people just get stuck in their mess. You know what I'm saying? They don't even know how to be like, they don't even know how to just stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, because this is the norm. This is how we've always interacted with each other. This is just how we are. No, stop that. You know what I'm saying? Wait, somebody get smart. Somebody rise above the occasion. Somebody break the cycle. Somebody be more mature. Stop the pattern. Stop the process. Just regroup, refocus, and change the dynamics of the relationship. You don't have to, be upset when you're speaking to them or whatnot. And then that just goes back into the next topic, which is displaying healthy parenting interactions. I know with Chris and I, we thought that it would be important because, remember we were saying that Chris used to, he figured out that we beefing, right? So he, at 7, 8 years old, he's already established my mom and dad don't like each other. So because my mom and dad don't like each other, I'm finna go all in, you know what I'm saying? So since we recognized that and it was crazy because it's like we just got smart, like, hold on. Did Chris call you and tell you he didn't know at some point we had grew up. At some point he's still thinking we beefing, right? He's still thinking I ain't fooling with him, you ain't fooling with me. But he didn't know that we had made amends or whatever. And so he was still trying to play the game. But what we started doing was calling each other and like, hey, did Chris say this? Well, no, he ain't tell me that. What? So we figured out his little butt had been lying and keeping us at odds the whole time. Kids are smart. So what we started doing was we wanted him to see us interacting with each other in healthy ways, in fun ways, in ways that, hey, hey, we eating this over here. You want to come and join us? Or it was crazy because at some point we were all working out together. Chris would be at the gym. I would be at the gym and he'd be training little Chris. And here I am. We're all in there together. So we just wanted to show him healthy interaction so that he can be like, okay, all right, this is part of who I am. This is for the betterment of me. Relationships don't have to be nasty. My parents care about each other,
mm-hmm.
And it just made him be a better person,
It definitely made him more well-rounded. He understood that, oh, wow, so they can get along. And he was able to see us get along. We were able to go to games together, and we took him to college, and we had to ride down together, and I drove us down. I'll even go back when we drove down when it was snowing, when he went to his visit.
Oh.
And I had to drive him. We swerved, and I
yeah.
had to catch the car and all that. And we almost turned over. But it was just one of those things where it was a bonding moment for him to see that my parents are taking me to school. So it gave him that sense of both my parents are here. So I felt like for him, it was like it was always meant how it was intended to be in the beginning. He's able to still have that, even though me and mom are not together anymore. He still has that sense of both my parents are here. I have my mom and my dad. My mom and my dad both raised me. You know, maybe my dad's on the outside of the house, but he still was right there with my mom, and they worked together to raise me. So it's still in a sense a two-parent home, even though it's not a shared two-parent home. But both parents are working together, so the child gets to have that involvement of two parents. A lot of times when young kids are growing up, it's the fight. So they never get to see the two parent working together. So once parents start working together effectively, you really get to see how the child blossoms, how the child grows.
Yeah, that part.
And it's like, wow, like we did this. It's times when I look at Christopher and I'm like, dang, we really did that. But had we not been working together for the betterment of Christopher, who knows? Because I had to be the tyrant. Because it worked well because once we learned how he was doing us, I became the tyrant and she was the softer. Come here, baby. Mama got you. But she never stood in my way from being a tyrant. She let me reign him. She let me reign on top of him. I rained down on him. But it worked because he needed that guidance from a man that was going to be strong on him. Had I been out the house and we're not working together, and let's say I'm trying to, make him my buddy because I want him to be closer to me than his mother, it's not going to help him in his maturation process. So by me and her working together, I was able to really grab him and be like, I'm not playing with you. You're going to do it this way. This is the kind of man you're going to be. And even when I was down on him, he can go to her and get that nurturing. Come here, baby. Mama got you. I know your daddy. He's only doing what's best for you. I know it sucks right now. But it worked.
Yeah, and you know what? That wasn't always easy because I had to learn when to be like, okay, I'm gonna let his daddy handle that. This is not a mama issue. So this is part of that parenting goal. This is part of the communication. All this stuff ties in together, y'all. This is a part of establishing boundaries. When Chris would, because he's not the perfect kid. I don't want to make y'all think that at all. We didn't have plenty of woo. So, but in those moments, I had to know, okay, this is what he needs. He needs discipline. Let me let his daddy handle that. You know what I'm saying? I had to learn my place. And I say place because I feel like that's the right term. I had to learn when I needed to be mother hen and when I need to let daddy do what it is that daddy needs to instill in him. So I think that helped him as well. But like, again, that's part of the establishing the boundaries. I knew that Chris needed it, again, keeping him at the center, right? Because that's essentially what the goal is. So allowing his daddy to take the reign on some of the issues. And then there was times where, hold on, now, I don't feel like you need to be coming down on him like that. I feel like this is a time for you to have a conversation with him. I think that he's mature enough and he can comprehend and understand, or the things that you're saying. So I don't think that type of energy is needed. Let's see where his head is, because sometimes, like, I am the mom and I am mama hen and I am, the softer side of it. But we made sure that there was a balance. So again, all this stuff plays a part in how you can build a positive bond with the co-parent after the breakup. So again, establishing these things in the relationship between you guys, all of this is for the betterment of the child.
Everything's about the child. Like when you think about co-parenting, that's why it's co-parenting. You're working together for the betterment of the child. It's not about you and her. It didn't work with you and her or you and him. So now let's take our focus off each other and let's focus on raising this young man or young woman to be the greatest young person we've ever seen in this world, because they can be if you both put the time in and the effort to make sure these young people are becoming young, thriving adults. A lot of times you're still caught in your own mess and you don't have time for that because you're only worried about you. Well, that don't work anymore. You know what? It's over for us, but let's just dive into being great parents to our child. And I think when we have more parents working this way, we'll have less of what we're seeing on television and TV and the little girls doing things because they see Sexy Red or Ice Spice or all these women, this agenda that's being passed right now to our girls.
Right.
I call it thoughtism because it's thoughtism. And it's unfortunate that our young girls are being probed that way and our young men are being taught that you got to carry a stick and you got to be gangster and you gotta stand on business. You should stand on business, but you gotta do this and you gotta do this and spin in the block and I'll do this and I got ops and I got this and it's all an agenda. But because a lot of young people are not being parented the right way, they can't see the forest from the trees. So they can't see that it's all propaganda. When a parent is there, when parents are there, and they're able to display, son, I know you listen to this type of music, or baby, I know you listen to this music, but this is not what we do here. This is not how you're gonna be. You're gonna be this way because this is what an adult looks like. I'm gonna show you what an adult looks like. So it's a song that I encourage you guys to listen to by Lupe Fiasco. It's called BITCH Bad. He's breaking down how a woman would call herself a BITCH, but she's calling herself that because she's because she got a good job, big house. She's with her husband, whatever. And so a little girl who's watching videos will determine that this video vixen is a bad B, but she's a bad B for a different kind of way. So the young man would interpretate that his mother is a bad B because he's hearing her rapping it in the back of the car when he's a kid. So he sees his mother as a bad B, but he knows mom has a good job, good car, good house. Mom does well. But when he meets the little girl as an adult, he sees her as a bad B because she's not like mom, but she called herself a bad B, even though you're not a bad B because my mom was a bad B because of X, Y, Z. You call yourself a bad B because of this here. This is not it. You're not a bad B. You're just a B. And because of that, we have to teach our young girls, you're not a bad B, you're a queen. Mom's not a bad B, she's a queen. So sometimes certain words you use can stereotype yourself and put yourself in a room you don't belong in. But only time you know that is if you're being taught that by the right people.
And that's where the co-parenting comes back into play, because if we are able to steer you, because the world is the world, right? We understand that, the world is not like it is when we grew up. You can't just play outside. You can't just, it's just so much change and it's just so much evil. Mm-hmm. So naturally you want to keep your kid protected and covered and, but just understanding the dynamics of the world, they're going to be exposed to things at school. So if you and your co-parent are on the same accord, y'all communicating, y'all removing personal feelings, y'all putting the child at the center, y'all establishing parenting goals, y'all establishing boundaries, y'all establishing parenting time, y'all establishing healthy interactions. If y'all doing all this as co-parents, like we didn't make it, right? We didn't make it. We didn't work out. But we're instilling all this goodness into this human who's growing up to be a better person in the world. So we're putting somebody out in the world that, I hate to say this, less cuckoo, less problematic, less, I don't know what other term to do it, but we're molding him into being the person that he is today. So with that being said,
hey, that's where we at, guys. We're doing our best with this. We're learning as we go. I enjoy this because it's therapeutic.
And we need to hear this. Our community needs to hear this. We need to be reprogrammed. We need to, excuse me, I'm sorry. We have to be reprogrammed because, couples break up all the time. But that don't necessarily mean this man has to be my enemy. It doesn't mean that I have to keep dealing with him in that sense. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be the best of friends with your co-parents. So we have to rethink this thing because at the end of the day, it's our kids that are lost. It's our kids that are behind the bar. It's our kids that are struggling. So if we change the narrative, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm getting a little passionate because I just see how, like you said, how we're being programmed, like how our kids, like we don't have to stay in brokenness. You know what I'm saying? We can be, it's okay. So we just have to change the narrative in our community, work together, strive for excellence with these kids and these relationships and the boundaries and everything. It can be done. So, that's just my take on everything on tonight. I'm glad you guys took the time to tune in.
Yes,
I appreciate
absolutely.
the support. Please go to our YouTube channel and Co-Parenting Done the Right Way.
No, Co-Parenting the podcast.
Co-Parenting the podcast. You're right. Click like, share, and subscribe so that you guys are aware when new episodes and things come out. So far, we have 5, 6 of them in a game. I think
5.
They're all very interesting. We talk about our dynamics from the start of it. We talk about the fights. We talk about everything. But now we're moving in a positive direction. Hopefully next week we'll be able to have a guest on. Again, if you guys would like to chime in different questions, things that you're facing with your own co-parent partner or whatnot, chime in, ask us questions. We're going to make some different platforms available, or different methods of communication. We're going to build those into our platform as well. So, yeah.
Yep. And so also, guys, like I said, stay locked in, stay close to us as we continue to grow our brands.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Going back to parenting goals. So with Chris saying that he wanted to play the NFL. So just part of our goals is to have Chris a clothing line. Those type of things. We have things set up to establish him,
That's true. Yeah.
So it's just the dream is only as big as you build it. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Yep. She's right. You got to be willing to go out there and go get it. A lot of people, and I'm gonna say this real quick and be done with it. A lot of us say we believe in God. Hey, I believe in God. I trust God on my heart. But as soon as things go bad for you, where's God? If you truly have faith in what you're doing and who you believe in, then you should be able to do everything in life you want to do. Only person stopping you is you, because God ain't putting no roadblocks in your way. That's you. So if you truly believe that God is who he say he is, then anything you want in life is yours. Anything you want, you can obtain. So what I'm saying is, guys, stop holding yourself back. I don't know what you guys are doing. I just felt led to say this. Stop holding yourself back. I don't know what it is you want to do in life. Somebody's on this live is holding yourself back. Stop holding yourself back and go get what's yours. Go get it. But in the process, if you have children, make sure that you and the mother are working together so your children can get what's theirs. And that's all I got to say about that. But guys, please stay locked in with us. As like I said before, the big fish is coming real soon. And I mean real soon. Can't give you a definitive date, but I definitely know that we're coming really, really soon. And we cannot wait to serve you guys. And we love serving you guys at Seas. We love our community with all our heart. We love every one of you guys like you're our own family members. And with that being said, we're going to sign off. This was the podcast. See you guys next week. Love you guys with all our hearts.
All right.
Peace.
We out. Bye, guys. Thank you.